In the heart of the Siberian taiga, among endless forests and swamps, lies one of the greatest mysteries of our planet. For decades, geologists, pilots, and researchers have reported strange lights in the sky, unidentified objects, and anomalous zones where the laws of physics seem to cease to apply. What is hidden in the Siberian taiga? Why has this region become the center of unexplained phenomena? Today we will reveal secrets that have been kept under wraps for many years. If you are fascinated by this story about the mysteries of the Siberian taiga, be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Every week, we reveal new secrets of our world. What do you think about the connection between anomalous zones and ancient civilizations or extraterrestrial visits? Could our ancestors have already encountered representatives of other worlds? Share your theories in the comments. On June 1st, 1973, a geological expedition led by Viktor Krasnov was working in the Podkamenaya Tunguska area. What they saw that night turned their understanding of reality upside down. A strange pulsating light appeared over the taiga around 11 p.m., slowly moving against the wind at an altitude of about 300 meters. Krasnov, an experienced geologist with 20 years of experience, later recalled, the object was shaped like a disc with a diameter of about 50 meters, emitted a cold bluish light, and moved completely silently. The entire team of 8 people observed this phenomenon for 20 minutes. Attempts to photograph the object failed. The film was overexposed, although the camera was working properly. This was not an isolated case. Hundreds of similar reports are stored in the archives of Siberian Geological Services. Alexei Petrovich Morozov's expedition in 1968 recorded similar phenomena in the Yenisei Ridge area. The expedition foreman described a group of 3 luminous objects that appeared above the camp and hovered motionless at a height of 200 meters. The peculiarity of all these observations was their repeatability. The same areas of the taiga became places of regular encounters with unidentified objects. Geologists began to unofficially call these places hot spots. In their reports, they often mentioned strange sensations in these areas: headaches, nausea, and the failure of compasses and other instruments. Doctor of Geological Sciences Mikhail Ivanovich Belov, who studied such evidence for 20 years, claimed that there was a direct link between the geological features of the area and the frequency of UFO sightings. In his opinion, certain mineral formations and underground structures could create conditions for the appearance of anomalous phenomena. Analysis of the observation map shows that most cases occurred in areas of active tectonic activity. This gave rise to the theory that the Earth's crust in these places has special properties, possibly related to deposits of rare metals or unusual magnetic fields. Each new piece of evidence from geologists added a piece to the mysterious mosaic of Siberian anomalies. Interestingly, many geologists who witnessed such phenomena subsequently changed their specialization or left the profession altogether. They said that what they saw did not fit into the framework of conventional science and forced them to rethink the foundations of the universe. Some of them became active researchers of paranormal phenomena, devoting the rest of their lives to finding answers to the questions that arose in the Siberian taiga. Captain Vladimir Nikolaevich Petrov had been flying the Tu-124 on the Novosibirsk-Magadan route for 15 years, but he had never seen anything like this. It happened on March 23, 1979, at an altitude of 9,000 meters above the Krasnoyarsk region. The object appeared on the left side of the plane and began to follow a parallel course, maintaining a constant distance of about a kilometer. Co-pilot Anatoly Sergeyevich Volkov immediately contacted the control tower, but they replied that they could not see any foreign objects on their radar screens. Meanwhile, the mysterious craft continued to fly alongside them. It was triangular in shape, larger than their plane, and moved completely silently. No visible engines or exhaust were detected. 20 minutes later, the object suddenly accelerated and disappeared over the horizon at a speed that the pilots estimated to be over 3,000 kilometers per hour. Such maneuvers were impossible for any known aircraft of that time. After landing, Petrov and Volkov submitted an official report, which was immediately classified. Similar incidents occurred regularly. The Aeroflot archives contain dozens of reports from pilots about encounters with UFOs over Siberia. Il-18 crew commander Boris Mikhailovich Sokolov described an incident that occurred in 1980. His plane accompanied a cigar-shaped object about 100 meters long for 40 minutes while flying over the Irkutsk region. Such encounters were especially common on routes passing over sparsely populated areas of the Taiga. Pilots noted that unidentified objects never showed aggression, but their behavior indicated intelligent control. They changed course, speed, and altitude, clearly responding to the actions of the aircraft. Valentina Ivanovna Kuznetsova, a dispatcher at Krasnoyarsk Airport, worked in the control tower for 25 years. According to her, about once a month, radar operators recorded objects moving at abnormal speeds and trajectories. Officially, this data was attributed to atmospheric interference or equipment malfunctions, but experienced controllers understood the true nature of the phenomena. An analysis of flight charts revealed an interesting pattern. Most encounters occurred in areas where there were large deposits of minerals underground: iron ore, gold, rare earth metals. This observation gave rise to the hypothesis that unidentified objects may be related to geological activity or the presence of certain minerals. After such encounters, some pilots reported temporary malfunctions in their navigation equipment. Compasses began to show incorrect directions, radio communications were interrupted, and autopilots shut down for no apparent reason. These effects usually lasted from 5 to 15 minutes after the object disappeared. Classified documents from the USSR Ministry of Defense contain surprising evidence of UFO sightings by military pilots over Siberia. These materials became available to researchers only in the early 1990s, after the collapse of the Soviet Union. What is described in them radically changes our understanding of the scale of the phenomenon. Colonel Igor Vasilyevich Makarov, commander of a fighter regiment in Novosibirsk, described the interception of an unidentified object in a secret report dated September 15, 1975. His MiG-21 took off on alert after detecting a target moving at a speed of 800 kilometers per hour at an altitude of 6,000 meters. As it approached, the object abruptly changed its trajectory, making a 90-degree turn without losing speed. Such a maneuver was physically impossible for any known aircraft. Makarov attempted to establish visual contact, but the object suddenly accelerated to 3,000 kilometers per hour and disappeared from the radar screens. Of particular interest are the documents of Military Unit Number 74,235, stationed in the Krasnoyarsk region. From 1972 to 1980, personnel regularly observed group flights of unidentified objects. Major Alexander Petrovich Smirnov's report describes a case of simultaneous observation of 7 objects flying in strict order. Lieutenant General Viktor Semyonovich Bogatyrev, who oversaw air defense in the Siberian military district, admitted in his memoirs that there was an unspoken instruction not to scramble fighter jets to intercept UFOs. The reason for this was several incidents in which, when attempting to approach unidentified objects, aircraft systems failed or pilots lost consciousness. Documents testify to the creation in 1977 of a special commission for the study of anomalous phenomena under the General Staff. It was headed by Major General Anatoly Ivanovich Lysenko. The commission collected and analyzed reports of UFOs from all branches of the military. Over 3 years of work, more than 300 sightings were recorded in Siberia alone. Analysis showed that the objects showed particular interest in strategic facilities, military airfields, missile bases, and ammunition depots. In several cases, UFOs were recorded hovering over classified military facilities for up to several hours. This caused serious concern among the command. The most mysterious case occurred on October 28, 1978, at a test site in Plesetsk. A group of unidentified objects hovered over the launch pad during a training exercise. All of the complex's electronic systems malfunctioned, and the rocket launch was cancelled. The objects were observed for 4 hours, after which they disappeared. The Tunguska event of 1908 remains one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. However, few people know that strange phenomena are still occurring in the area of this disaster, which may be related to that distant explosion. Modern researchers find surprising parallels between the Tunguska phenomenon and regular UFO sightings in this region. Leonid Kulik's expedition in 1927 discovered strange features at the epicenter of the explosion. The trees in the central zone remained standing, although they were completely burned, while the forest on the periphery was felled radially from the center. This picture did not correspond to a normal meteorite fall. In addition, no meteorite fragments were found. Local evanks told Kulik that after the explosion, strange lights and flying objects regularly appeared in these places. Senior shaman Ivan Petrovich Aksanov claimed that the spirit of fire had not left this place after the disaster and continued to appear to people. According to him, these phenomena occur especially often on the anniversary of the explosion, June 30th. Doctor of Physical and Mathematical Sciences Alexei Vasilyevich Zolotov, who studied the Tunguska phenomenon in the 1960s, put forward the hypothesis that the explosion could have been caused by the crash of an alien spacecraft. His calculations showed that the nature of the destruction was more consistent with a nuclear explosion than with the fall of a celestial body. The radioactive background at the epicenter did indeed exceed the norm. In 1958, biologist Gennady Fyodorovich Plekhanov discovered abnormally rapid tree growth in the area of the explosion. The annual rings of pine and larch trees that grew after the disaster were 2 to 3 times wider than normal. This indicated some unknown influence stimulating plant growth. Similar anomalies have only been observed in places where nuclear explosions have occurred. Modern expeditions continue to record strange phenomena in the Tunguska area. In 1992, geophysicist Vladimir Anatolyevich Romeyko recorded abnormal magnetic fields, the center of which coincided exactly with the epicenter of the explosion. Magnetic compasses within a radius of 5 kilometers showed incorrect directions. The testimonies of modern eyewitnesses are particularly interesting. Forester Pyotr Semyonovich Kozlov, who has been working in the area for 30 years, has repeatedly observed luminous objects hovering above the site of the explosion. According to his description, they are spherical in shape, about 10 meters in diameter, and emit a pulsating light. These objects usually appear on clear summer nights and are observed for half an hour to 2 hours. Perhaps the Tunguska explosion somehow changed the properties of space in this area, creating conditions for the manifestation of anomalous phenomena. Some researchers suggest that the disaster may have opened a portal between our world and other dimensions, through which unidentified objects periodically penetrate. In the heart of the Siberian Taiga, 600 kilometers north of Krasnoyarsk, lies one of the most mysterious places in Russia, a tract of land that locals call Devil's Cemetery. This anomalous zone, covering an area of about 100 square kilometers, has been a source of inexplicable phenomena and the subject of intense interest from paranormal researchers for decades. The first documented references to this place date back to 1897. Gold prospector Semyon Vasilyevich Zhuravlev described in his diary a strange clearing where the earth is dead, animals do not walk, birds do not sing, and fiery signs appear in the sky. According to him, in the center of the clearing there was a perfect circle with a diameter of about 50 meters, where no vegetation grew. Soviet geologists first explored this area in 1934. The expedition leader, Mikhail Petrovich Aksinov, noted the complete absence of animals within a radius of several kilometers from the anomalous site. Dogs refused to enter this area, and horses showed extreme restlessness. All attempts to set up camp in this area ended in failure. People complained of headaches, nausea, and panic attacks. The most detailed research was conducted by an expedition led by Vladimir Nikolaevich Demkin, Doctor of Biological Sciences, in 1972. Scientists found that in the central part of the zone, the radioactive background exceeded the norm by 5 times. Spectral analysis of the soil showed the presence of isotopes that do not occur in nature. This indicated the influence of an unknown energy source. Geomagnetic anomalies are of particular interest. Professor Anatoly Borisov established that the magnetic field in this area is extremely unstable. The compass needle rotates chaotically, and electronic devices fail within a few hours. These effects intensify towards the center of the zone, reaching a maximum in the dead circle. Local residents, the Evenks and Dolgans, categorically avoid this place. According to their legends, the land is cursed by spirits here, and those who dare to enter the forbidden zone may not return. The clan elder Nikolai Ivanovich Belda recounted how his grandfather saw an iron bird fall from the sky and disappear into the ground at this location. Modern research confirms the anomalous nature of this place. In 1995, an expedition led by ufologist Vadim Alexandrovich Chernobrov recorded regular sightings of luminous objects in the Devil's Cemetery. Over 2 weeks of work, 11 cases of UFOs of various shapes and sizes were documented. Satellite images show that the anomalous zone has clear boundaries visible from space. The vegetation changes dramatically around the perimeter, from lush taiga to virtually lifeless terrain. In the center of the zone, there is still a dead circle where even moss does not grow. Some researchers suggest that an alien spacecraft crashed here in the distant past, the consequences of which are still felt today. The indigenous peoples of Siberia preserve ancient legends about heavenly guests who visited their lands long before the arrival of Russian explorers. These oral traditions, passed down from generation to generation, contain surprisingly detailed descriptions of phenomena that modern science classifies as UFOs. Analysis of this evidence opens up a new perspective on understanding the phenomenon. The Evenks have a concept of Chayan, heavenly beings who fly in on fiery birds. According to their legends, these visits occur regularly, especially during the solstices. Ivan Petrovich Uvachin, a shaman of the Seveki clan who lived to be 97 years old, told researchers how, as a child, he saw an iron yurt land, from which tall beings in shiny clothes emerged. The Dolgan people call UFOs Tungus Kaila, which literally translates as spiritual deer of the sky. According to their beliefs, these creatures are messengers of the supreme deity I Toyona and bring knowledge of the future. Elder Prokopy Nikolaevich Vinokurov claimed that his great-grandfather received knowledge from the heavenly deer about the location of large gold deposits, which helped the clan survive in difficult times. Of particular interest are the Nenets' legends about Siderico, iron houses that can fly. In their cosmogony, these objects are associated with the spirit world and serve to move between different levels of existence. Shaman Alexei Semyonovich Laptander recounted seeing Siderico take people away, who returned a few days later with unusual knowledge and abilities. The Yakuts have a developed mythology about Toyon Kihilere, lords of the sky, who periodically descend to earth on glowing horses. Olonkosut Semyon Petrovich Danilov recorded more than 20 legends about encounters with these beings. A distinctive feature of Yakut legends is that they contain accurate astronomical data, references to the constellations from which the lords of the sky arrive. An analysis of these oral traditions reveals a striking similarity in the descriptions of UFO encounters among different peoples of Siberia. All of them mention luminous objects of various shapes, tall humanoid beings, and the transfer of knowledge. Ethnographer Anna Vasilyevna Anokina, who studied the shamanic traditions of the Turks of Siberia, discovered more than 50 stories in their folklore related to visits by representatives of extraterrestrial civilizations. Archaeological finds confirm the antiquity of these legends. On the petroglyphs of the Angara and Lena rivers, archaeologists find images of disc-shaped objects and anthropomorphic figures in strange garments. The most ancient of these drawings date back to the 3rd millennium BC. Doctor of Historical Sciences Vladimir Egorovich Medvedev believes that these images may be the oldest evidence of contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. Contemporary representatives of indigenous peoples continue to report encounters with UFOs. Reindeer herder Vasily Nikolaevich Ipin from the village of Kazim recounted how, in 1980, he observed a large luminous object landing near the camp. According to him, 3 tall figures emerged from the object, examined something on the ground, and then flew away. Interestingly, grass did not grow at the landing site for 5 years. In the late 1970s, an unofficial movement of ufologists began in the USSR, enthusiasts who independently investigated the UFO phenomenon. Many of them paid special attention to the Siberian Taiga, considering this region to be the most promising for studying anomalous phenomena. Their research, conducted outside the framework of official science, yielded unique results. Felix Yuryevich Ziegel, associate professor at the Moscow Aviation Institute, became a pioneer of Soviet ufology. In 1978, he organized the first scientific expedition to the Krasnoyarsk territory to study reports of UFOs. A team of 12 people, including physicists, biologists, and psychologists, spent 2 months in the Taiga documenting anomalous phenomena. The results of the expedition exceeded all expectations. During their work, the researchers recorded 17 cases of unidentified objects. The work in the area around the village of Vanavara, where local residents regularly reported strange lights in the sky, proved to be particularly productive. Physicist Anatoly Semyonovich Zaruba managed to obtain spectrograms of the radiation of one of the objects, which showed an unusual composition of light. Moscow engineer Vadim Alexandrovich Chernobrov became one of the most famous researchers of anomalous zones in Siberia. Since 1980, he has organized more than 30 expeditions to various areas of the Taiga. His methodology included the use of highly sensitive equipment to record electromagnetic anomalies, changes in the gravitational field, and temporal distortions. The expedition of biologist Natalia Ivanovna Subotina to Evenkia obtained unique data. She discovered that in areas where UFOs were frequently observed, vegetation exhibited unusual properties, accelerated growth, changes in pigmentation, and the appearance of atypical mutations. Analysis of plant DNA showed the presence of sections not found in nature. These findings indicated the influence of an unknown mutagenic factor. The Kosmopoisk expedition, led by Chernobrov, occupies a special place in the history of Soviet ufology. In 1992, they investigated an anomalous zone in the Podkamenaya Tunguska region, where they discovered metal fragments of unknown origin. Spectral analysis showed that the material contained isotopes not found on Earth. Psychologist Elena Mikhailovna Ratnikova studied the impact of anomalous zones on the human psyche. Her research showed that people who spend a long time in such places experience changes in brain function. Encephalograms showed the appearance of rhythms that are not characteristic of a normal state of consciousness. Some expedition participants reported telepathic abilities and precognition. Ufologists created detailed maps of anomalous zones in Siberia, revealing patterns in their location. Most of these places are located at the intersection of geological faults, near deposits of rare metals, or in areas with increased tectonic activity. This information made it possible to predict the most likely locations for UFO sightings. The work of Soviet ufologists laid the foundation for modern research into anomalous phenomena. Many of their discoveries still have no scientific explanation and continue to intrigue researchers around the world. Artifacts discovered in the Siberian taiga pose questions to science that still have no answers. These mysterious objects, found in areas of frequent UFO sightings, have properties that do not fit within the framework of modern knowledge about materials and technologies. Their study may shed light on the nature of anomalous phenomena in the region. The first significant discovery was made in 1963 by geologist Boris Ivanovich Sokolov in the lower Tunguska region. At a depth of 3 meters, he found a metal disc with a diameter of 30 centimeters and a thickness of 5 centimeters. The disc had a perfectly smooth surface and weighed half as much as it should have based on its size. Analysis conducted at the Institute of Metallurgy showed that the disc was made of an unknown alloy. It was based on titanium and aluminum, but also contained elements that are not found in the periodic table. The structure of the metal was so dense that it was impossible to cut it even with a laser. When heated to 1,000 degrees, the material did not change its properties. In 1975, an expedition led by academician Vladimir Petrovich Volkov discovered strange crystalline formations in Evenkia. These transparent pyramid-shaped crystals, up to 15 centimeters high, emitted a faint glow in the dark. X-ray structural analysis could not determine their composition. The crystal lattice did not correspond to any known mineral. The most mysterious find was the memorial plates, discovered by archaeologist Anna Sergeyevna Petrova in the Yenisei Ridge area. Thin metal plates measuring 20 by 30 centimeters are covered with symbols resembling writing, but not corresponding to any known alphabet. Attempts to decipher these symbols have so far been unsuccessful. Of particular interest are the magnetic stones found in various locations in Siberia. These black cobblestones, about the size of a fist, have an abnormally strong magnetic field, hundreds of times stronger than that of the Earth. At the same time, they do not contain iron or other ferromagnetic materials. Physicist Igor Davidov suggested that these stones could be fragments of UFO propulsion systems. In 1987, a mysterious cylindrical capsule 1.5 meters long was found in the Norilsk area. Inside the capsule was a liquid of unknown composition, which instantly evaporated on contact with air, leaving no trace. The walls of the capsule were made of the same indestructible material as Sokolov's disk. Biologist Mikhail Alexandrovich Novikov studied the effect of the found artifacts on living organisms. Plants placed next to the crystals showed accelerated growth and unusual resistance to disease. Seeds irradiated by the magnetic stones produced crops with altered genetic structures. These experiments were discontinued for safety reasons. All of the artifacts found demonstrate technologies that significantly exceed modern Earth capabilities. Their origin remains a mystery, but many researchers believe that these objects may be traces of visits by representatives of extraterrestrial civilizations. The systematic search for and study of such finds may be the key to understanding the nature of anomalous phenomena in the Siberian taiga. The electromagnetic anomalies of the Siberian taiga are one of the most intriguing features of the region. These invisible forces have a powerful effect on technology, living organisms, and the very structure of space-time. Studying these phenomena may explain why Siberia has become a center of anomalous activity. The first systematic measurements of the magnetic field in the region were carried out by geophysicist Semyon Petrovich Shatilov in 1958. His expedition discovered numerous areas where the Earth's magnetic field deviated from the norm by 300 to 500%. These anomalies had clear boundaries and remained stable for decades. Particularly powerful electromagnetic disturbances were recorded in the Kureka area. Doctor of Physical and Mathematical Sciences Anatoly Vasilyevich Trofimov established that electromagnetic radiation pulses with a power of up to several megawatts periodically occur in this zone. The source of these pulses was located underground at a depth of about 200 meters, but geological studies did not reveal anything unusual. Radio engineer Vladimir Belozorov spent 15 years studying radio interference in the Siberian taiga. He discovered that powerful radio signals of unknown origin occur at certain points. These signals had complex modulation and repeated at strictly defined intervals every 23 minutes and 47 seconds. The most mysterious were the temporal anomalies associated with electromagnetic disturbances. In 1979, Elena Ivanovna Rogova, a timekeeper at Moscow University, recorded a slowdown in the passage of time in Evenkia. Atomic clocks in the anomaly zone lagged behind the control clocks by several seconds per hour. This effect was observed only during periods of increased electromagnetic activity. Biologist Pyotr Mikhailovich Kozlov studied the effect of anomalous fields on living organisms. His experiments showed that plants and animals in areas of electromagnetic anomalies exhibit unusual behavior. Birds avoid these places, animal compasses malfunction, and people develop headaches and hallucinations. Of particular interest are observations of the connection between electromagnetic anomalies and the appearance of UFOs. Meteorologist Galina Petrovna Morozova found that 90% of unidentified object sightings occurred during periods of maximum electromagnetic activity. Perhaps these fields either attract UFOs or create conditions for their manifestation in our dimension. Modern research using satellite technology has confirmed the uniqueness of the electromagnetic picture of the Siberian taiga. Spacecraft register abnormal disturbances in the ionosphere above the region, which are visible even from space. These disturbances have a regular geometric shape, which indicates their artificial origin. Some scientists suggest that the electromagnetic anomalies in Siberia may be related to the activities of an underground civilization or secret technological installations of extraterrestrial origin. The regularity and power of these phenomena suggest that their source is highly technologically advanced. The hypothesis of the existence of underground bases of extraterrestrial civilizations in the Siberian taiga is based on a wealth of circumstantial evidence accumulated over decades of research. This theory explains many of the region's anomalous phenomena and finds support among serious scientists studying the UFO phenomenon. The founder of this hypothesis was geologist Viktor Semyonovich Grebennikov, who in 1970 discovered strange underground cavities of regular geometric shape in the Kemerovo region. These cavities were located at a depth of 50 to 200 meters and had perfectly smooth walls covered with an unknown material that reflected sound waves. Seismologist Anatoly Petrovich Bykov analyzed earthquakes in Siberia and discovered anomalous seismic signals emanating from the depths of the Earth. These signals were artificial in nature and repeated with a certain periodicity. Particularly intense signals were recorded in areas where UFOs were frequently observed. Bykov suggested that the source was underground technical structures. Hydrogeologist Maria Ivanovna Lebedeva studied the underground waters of the taiga and discovered areas where the groundwater had an unusual chemical composition. In these areas, the water contained trace elements not found in nature and had increased radioactivity. Analysis of the isotopic composition showed that these impurities entered the water from deep sources. The testimonies of miners who worked in the deep mines of Siberia are particularly valuable. Miner Ivan Stepanovich Kuznetsov, who worked at the Severny mine at a depth of 800 meters, recounted how in 1975 his team stumbled upon a metal wall of unknown origin. Attempts to break through it with jackhammers were unsuccessful. The tools simply bounced off the surface. Surveyor Alexei Vasilyevich Orlov compiled detailed maps of underground anomalies in Kuzbas. According to his data, there is a network of tunnels and chambers underground that are not related to natural geological processes. These structures are man-made and extend for hundreds of kilometers. Orlov believed that they were created by a high-tech civilization. Acoustician Vladimir Nikolaevich Sokolov used echolocation to study the underground space. His research revealed extensive cavities under the Altai Mountains, connected by a system of tunnels. The acoustic characteristics of these voids indicated that they were filled not with air, but with some other medium. Some cavities were the size of football stadiums. The most convincing evidence was obtained by the expedition of speleologist Yuri Mikhailovich Stepanov in Caucasia. In 1983, his team discovered the entrance to an underground system that was clearly man-made. The tunnels had a circular cross-section with a diameter of 3 meters, perfectly smooth walls, and extended kilometers deep. Attempts to explore the entire system were unsuccessful due to its complex layout and mysterious obstacles. Geophysicist Elena Vassilieva used gravimetric methods to map underground structures. Her measurements showed the existence of large cavities beneath the surface of the taiga, located at depths of 100 to 500 meters. Gravitational anomalies indicated the presence of large objects made of unknown materials in these cavities. Modern technologies confirm the hypothesis of underground bases. Ground-penetrating radar studies reveal regular-shaped metal structures underground. Infrared imaging from helicopters shows areas of the ground with elevated temperatures, which may indicate underground activity. Magnetometric measurements record anomalous fields emanating from the depths. Proponents of the underground base theory believe that these structures serve as intermediate stations for UFOs arriving from deep space. Perhaps they house warehouses, repair shops, or scientific laboratories of an extraterrestrial civilization. Regular UFO sightings over the taiga may be related to their movements between underground bases and space. The development of digital technologies and video surveillance systems in the 2000s opened a new page in the documentation of anomalous phenomena over the Siberian taiga. Modern high-resolution cameras, automatic tracking systems, and satellite surveillance have provided researchers with irrefutable video evidence of the existence of UFOs in the region. A breakthrough came in 1998 with the installation of the Skywatch automatic video surveillance system in the Podkamennaya Tunguska area. Engineer Mikhail Alexandrovich Konovalov placed 20 cameras with infrared sensors around the perimeter of the anomalous zone. The system operated in automatic mode, activating when moving objects were detected. During its first year of operation, the system recorded 137 instances of unidentified objects. Most of the recordings showed glowing spheres with diameters ranging from 5 to 15 meters, moving at speeds of up to 1,000 kilometers per hour. The objects demonstrated the ability to stop instantly, make sharp turns, and hover in the air. Of particular value are the recordings made in the infrared range. They show that UFOs emit heat across their entire surface, which rules out the use of conventional engines. The temperature of the objects was 300 to 400 degrees Celsius, but no visible exhaust or heating of the surrounding air was observed. The use of high-speed photography was revolutionary. Cameras capable of shooting at a speed of 10,000 frames per second captured details of UFO movement that were invisible to the naked eye. It turned out that the objects did not just move quickly. They teleported, disappearing at one point and instantly reappearing at another. Programmer Andrei Belov created a system for the automatic analysis of UFO video recordings. His algorithms revealed patterns in the behavior of the objects. They appear more often at certain times of the day, follow repetitive routes, and demonstrate complex group maneuvers. The analysis showed that the actions of UFOs are based on intelligent planning. Unique footage was obtained by the observation system at Baikonur. Astrophysicist Olga Ivanovna Petrova recorded the moment of interaction between a UFO and a launching rocket. The unidentified object approached the carrier rocket at a distance of less than a kilometer and accompanied it until it left the atmosphere. Such behavior indicates the interest of extraterrestrial civilizations in humanity's space programs. Mass UFO sightings were recorded by CCTV cameras in Novosibirsk on August 13, 2007. More than 30 objects appeared simultaneously over the city and performed synchronized maneuvers for an hour. Recordings from different cameras allowed triangulation to be performed and the exact sizes and speeds of the objects to be determined. Modern artificial intelligence systems are used to process thousands of hours of video recordings. Neural networks have learned to recognize UFOs among clouds, birds, and airplanes with 98% accuracy. This has made it possible to create a database containing more than 10,000 confirmed UFO sightings over Siberia in the last 15 years alone. The official position of Russian science on the issue of UFOs over the Siberian taiga is a complex mixture of skepticism, cautious interest, and classified research. Academic circles have long avoided public discussion of this topic, but the accumulated data is forcing serious scientists to reconsider their views. In an interview in 2005, Vladimir Petrovich Fortov, an academician of the Russian Academy of Sciences, acknowledged that the UFO phenomenon deserves scientific study. According to him, the amount of reliable evidence has reached a critical mass that can no longer be ignored. Fortov noted a particular concentration of sightings in Siberia and called for the creation of an interdisciplinary working group. Since 2003, the Space Research Institute of the Russian Academy of Sciences, headed by academician Lev Mitrofanovich Zeleny, has been conducting a program called Monitoring of Anomalous Aerospace Phenomena. As part of this program, data from spacecraft that record unexplained objects in the Earth's atmosphere are analyzed. Particular attention is paid to the Siberian region. In 2007, Alexei Dmitrievich Zavyalov, director of the Institute of Geophysics, published an article on geophysical anomalies in Siberia, in which he indirectly acknowledged the possibility of extraterrestrial origin of some phenomena. Zavyalov noted a correlation between the geological features of the region and the frequency of UFO sightings. In 2010, the Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Sciences established a committee for the study of anomalous phenomena, chaired by Nikolai Vasilyevich Subotin, Doctor of Physical and Mathematical Sciences. The committee collects and analyzes reports of UFOs received from researchers at Siberian institutes. Over 10 years of work, an extensive archive of documented cases has been accumulated. Research conducted as part of the SETCA program plays a special role. This classified program of the Ministry of Defense studies the impact of anomalous phenomena on military equipment and personnel. In his rare public appearances, the program's director, Major General Igor Anatolyevich Barminov, has noted the non-trivial nature of some of the recorded phenomena. Since 2015, the Russian Foundation for Basic Research has been funding projects to study unidentified atmospheric phenomena. Grants have been awarded to several groups of researchers studying electromagnetic anomalies, plasma formations, and other physical processes that may explain UFO sightings. In 2018, Moscow State University launched the Scan Sky project, a network of automatic stations for observing atmospheric anomalies. 20 stations are located in various regions of Siberia and conduct round-the-clock monitoring. Preliminary results confirm the high frequency of unexplained phenomena in the region. Despite the growing interest of the scientific community, the public position remains cautious. Most scientists prefer to talk about unidentified atmospheric phenomena, or anomalous physical processes, avoiding the term UFO. However, behind closed doors, it is acknowledged that some of the observations do not fit into the framework of modern science. The international scientific community is showing growing interest in Siberian anomalies, recognizing this region as one of the most promising places to study the UFO phenomenon. Foreign researchers organize expeditions, install measuring equipment, and collaborate with Russian colleagues on joint projects. American astrophysicist Dr. James McDonald of the University of Arizona was the first Western scientist to recognize the significance of Siberian observations. In 1992, he organized a joint Russian-American expedition to the Podkamennaya Tunguska region. Over 3 weeks of work, the team recorded 12 cases of unidentified objects. In 2001, the French National Center for Space Studies created the Pan-Siberia program to study anomalous phenomena in the region. A group of researchers led by Dr. Jean-Jacques Villacco installed a network of automatic detectors in the Taiga to record electromagnetic and optical anomalies. Over 5 years of work, the program collected unique data. Japanese scientists are particularly active in this field. Professor Hiroshi Takeuchi of Tokyo University considers the Siberian taiga to be a window into parallel dimensions. His theory is based on an analysis of temporal anomalies recorded in the region. According to Takeuchi, UFOs may be objects from another dimension that penetrate our world through spatial gaps. The German Plasma Research Institute sent Dr. Klaus Müller on an expedition to Siberia to study ball lightning and plasma formations. Müller suggested that many UFO sightings could be explained by natural plasma phenomena amplified by the region's special geomagnetic conditions. However, his own observations cast doubt on this hypothesis. Canadian researchers from the University of Toronto focused on studying the impact of anomalous zones on human consciousness. Neurophysiologist Dr. Michael Persinger conducted a series of experiments with volunteers in Siberian anomalous zones. The results showed significant changes in brain activity, including the activation of areas responsible for extrasensory perception. Chinese scientists from the Chinese Academy of Sciences are studying the connection between Siberian anomalies and similar zones in Xinjiang province. Professor Li Weimin has hypothesized that such places are connected by underground tunnels or energy channels. His geophysical research has revealed similar magnetic anomalies in both regions. The European Space Agency has included monitoring of Siberian anomalies in the Cluster Satellite program. The data show regular disturbances in the magnetosphere over the region that are not related to solar activity. These observations confirm the artificial nature of many anomalous phenomena. The international group MUFON, Mutual Assistance Network for UFO Studies, has recognized the Siberian taiga as one of the 5 most active regions on the planet in terms of UFO sightings. International conferences are held annually to discuss new data and theories. Growing recognition of the seriousness of the phenomenon is contributing to the allocation of additional funding for research. The Siberian taiga is not the only place on Earth where anomalous phenomena are concentrated. A comparative analysis of various hot spots on the planet reveals striking parallels and allows for a better understanding of the nature of the UFO phenomenon. These connections point to the existence of a global system of anomalous zones. The American Devil's Triangle in Nevada exhibits characteristics similar to those in Siberia. Researcher Dr. Bob Lazar has documented electromagnetic anomalies, navigation equipment failures, and regular UFO sightings in this area. The geological structure of Nevada is similar to the anomalous zones in Siberia. The same faults in the Earth's crust and deposits of rare metals. The Gibson Desert in Australia is known to the Aborigines as a place where the spirits of the sky touch the Earth. Anthropologist Jane Harrison recorded ancient legends that are strikingly similar to Siberian legends about heavenly visitors. Both cultures mention luminous objects, tall beings, and the transmission of secret knowledge. Of particular interest is the Zone of Silence in Mexico. Radio engineer Carlos Graciadas discovered the same radio interference and temporal anomalies here as in the Siberian Taiga. Local residents report encounters with UFOs, the descriptions of which are almost identical to Siberian testimonies. Perhaps these zones are parts of a single planetary network. The Chinese province of Xinjiang contains several anomalous areas with characteristics similar to those in Siberia. Peking University professor Zhang Wei has determined that the magnetic anomalies in both regions fluctuate synchronously, as if connected by invisible channels. This discovery supports the theory of an underground network connecting the anomalous zones. Brazilian researcher Dr. Miguel Santos is studying the connection between the anomalous zones of the Amazon and Siberia. His satellite observations show simultaneous bursts of activity in both regions. Indigenous Amazonian tribes have myths about star brothers that are remarkably similar to Siberian legends. Norwegian fjords exhibit similar electromagnetic anomalies. Dr. Lars Andersen, a physicist at the University of Bergen, has recorded the same types of UFOs over the fjords as those observed in Siberia. Sami legends tell of glowing sleighs that fly in from the sky and take chosen people away to teach them secret knowledge. The Kalahari Desert in Africa contains an anomalous zone known to the Bushmen as the place where the stars dance. Ethnographer David Lewis Williams recorded rock paintings depicting disc-shaped objects and encounters with tall beings. These petroglyphs are more than 10,000 years old, making them the oldest images of UFOs on the planet. Analysis of the location of all known anomalous zones reveals a geometric pattern. They form a complex network on the Earth's surface, with nodes located at the intersections of tectonic faults. Perhaps this network was created artificially for some purpose beyond our understanding. The Siberian Taiga is one of the key nodes of this planetary system. Despite decades of research, Siberian anomalies continue to pose new questions for science. Modern technologies reveal increasingly complex aspects of the phenomenon, and each new discovery gives rise to even more mysteries. Future studies of these phenomena may radically change our understanding of reality. In 2020, Dr. Andrei Borisov, a quantum physicist at Moscow University, discovered quantum coherence violations in the anomalous zones of Siberia. His measurements showed that physical laws different from the generally accepted ones operate in these places. Elementary particles demonstrate behavior that can only be predicted by theories of parallel universes. Marina Sergeyevna Volkova, a biologist at the Institute of Cytology of the Russian Academy of Sciences, is investigating the effect of anomalous fields on the DNA of living organisms. Her experiments show that the genetic code in anomaly zones undergoes targeted changes. New sequences emerge, encoding proteins with unknown functions. This may indicate the intervention of a highly developed civilization in evolutionary processes. Archaeologist Vladimir Ivanovich Molodin discovered artifacts in the Novosibirsk region that are more than 50,000 years old, the technology of which surpasses modern technology. Analysis showed that these objects were created using nanotechnology. Perhaps in the past, Earth was already visited by representatives of extraterrestrial civilizations. Astrophysicist Elena Dmitrievna Kuzmina of the Pulkovo Observatory recorded radio signals emanating from anomalous zones in Siberia and directed toward the Zeta Reticuli star system. These signals have a complex structure and may represent messages from an extraterrestrial civilization. Analysis showed that the transmissions have been going on according to a specific schedule for several years. The research of Russian scientist Dr. Nikolai Alexandrovich Kozyrev on the study of time has taken on a new dimension in anomalous zones. Physicist Igor Petrovich Kopylov has established that time flows unevenly in these places. Areas with slowed and accelerated time have been recorded, which may explain the ability of UFOs to move instantaneously. Neurophysiologist Alexei Nikolaevich Ivanitsky of the Human Brain Institute studies the effect of anomalous fields on consciousness. His research shows the activation of areas of the brain that are not normally involved in normal activity. People who spend a long time in anomalous zones develop extrasensory abilities and demonstrate an expanded perception of reality. Geophysicist Viktor Lukyanov of the Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Sciences suggests that anomalous zones are windows between different dimensions of space. His mathematical models describe the possibility of parallel worlds that periodically intersect with our reality. UFOs may be vehicles traveling between these worlds. Future research may lead to revolutionary discoveries. There are plans to create an international center in Siberia for the study of anomalous phenomena, equipped with the most modern equipment. Perhaps it is here that humanity will obtain the first reliable evidence of the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence and discover new laws of physics that will change our civilization forever.